Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that looks to answer exactly those. I'm Rebecca Felgate, and today we're going to be discussing whether or not we should boycott United Airlines. By now, almost all of you watching this video will know that on Sunday, April 9th, 2017, United Airlines used brute force to drag a passenger off flight 3411 at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. The 5:40 p.m. flight bound for Kentucky was sold out when United made a last-minute decision to bump off 4 passengers so that 4 off-duty employees could ride on the plane. The off-duty crew were needed the next day in Louisville, so it was decided that passengers who had booked and paid for their flights should be removed. Video footage shot on the phones of several passengers shows us what happened next. What we see is a downward spiral into absolute brutish chaos. It started with passengers being offered a $400 voucher and an overnight stay in a hotel in Chicago. This was then raised to $800, but as nobody wanted to get off the flight, 4 names were supposedly called at random. This was when Dr. David Dow, an American doctor of Vietnamese descent, was asked to leave the plane. But when he refused on the grounds that he had patients to meet, he was viciously attacked, his head smashed against a seat armrest, and then he was dragged off by 3 men, 2 men in police officer uniforms and presumably a plainclothes security officer. During the incident, you can hear the man's harrowing screams. He later is very confused and shaken, and bleeding from the mouth, he runs to the back of the plane in distress. This incident is so very far from okay, leading many to publicly shame United Airlines, with officials in Vietnam and China calling for a boycott. YouTubers such as Philip DeFranco and frequent flyer Casey Neistat have made videos condemning United, saying that they will never fly with them again. Share prices dropped by 4% on Tuesday, and the company value in total is reported to have dropped by $1.4 billion. I think this speaks volumes on how people are feeling towards the company. Okay, so there was brutish behavior, the company is losing money, and some pretty important people are now actively against United. But was it really their fault? Well, yes. United tried to offer seats to its employees on a full flight, putting their last-minute needs ahead of passengers' needs. If this kind of thing is going to happen, why would they not have a few spare seats that were not available for sale in case of emergencies like this? Their need for profit overshadowed company common sense and the rights of the passengers to fly. United employees called out the 4 passengers at random to boot off when nobody took up their offer of $800 and a hotel. It is unclear whether those selected at random were then offered any kind of compensation. Then, when a passenger they selected to be removed refused for genuinely reasonable reasons, they invited security onto the plane to handle a situation they could not. Yes, the security team were the ones who harmed the passenger, but I didn't see a United member of staff trying to assist in the ruckus. They were very quick to summon force and then totally idle when the situation got messy, and this man's blood, actual blood, is on their hands. Okay, but perhaps we should look at how the top-level bosses at United treated this incident before we call for a boycott of the whole company. United CEO Oscar Munoz has issued a number of statements since the incident. However, he emailed staff at United to say that he stood behind their actions. The email claimed he believed staff had followed established procedures, and he even claimed that the passenger was disruptive and belligerent, which we can see from the video footage just isn't true. The only thing disrupting the peace were his cutting screams from the physical abuse he was subjected to. Presumably before Munoz knew the incident had been well documented on social media, he released a statement to say, "This is an upsetting event to all of us here at United. I apologize for having to reaccommodate these customers. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with the authorities and conduct our own detailed review of what happened." Then, after much backlash for his tone-deaf use of the word reaccommodate instead of beat senseless, he wrote another statement, this time calling the event truly horrific. He offered his deepest apologies for what happened, saying he was disturbed and admitted a customer was forcibly removed. Finally, 2 days after the incident, he wrote that United takes full responsibility, saying it's never too late to do the right thing. Sure, but 48 hours late is quite the delay. Finally, he promises that United will do better. But is that enough? Would he have responded this way if the harrowing footage had not been released? This is speculation, but I for one doubt it. So we know that United have no moral standing in this incident, or at least a a very, very delayed one, but did they have any legal standing for removing a passenger off a plane in place of an employee? Well, maybe not. Obviously, manhandling and beating a non-abusive and non-violent passenger is pretty darn against the rules, but refusing them transport. Well, United can deny boarding for a number of reasons, but this passenger had already boarded, largely considered to be the point of no return. I read Rule 21 of the United Airlines Contract of Carriage, which outlines when a passenger can be refused transport, and it's long. But to me at least, it doesn't seem like this passenger was in violation of any rules that could result in him being ejected from the aircraft. I suppose that now it's in the hands of lawyers. So, to sum up, a paying passenger who had been allowed to board was selected at random to be removed, possibly unlawfully, from an aircraft due to a fault not of the passengers, but of the airlines. When the passengers stated that they needed to travel and refused to get off, they were branded belligerent and attacked. Attacked so much so that they were knocked to the ground, bleeding from the mouth, and shamed in front of all passengers on the plane as they were dragged by their limbs to the front of the aircraft. Then, to make matters worse, the CEO downplayed the incident, supporting his staff's actions until he realized the virality of the footage captured on the plane. Legality aside, does this sound like a company you want to endorse? Should we boycott United Airlines? Obviously, you need to make up your own mind, but if there are other viable options, why on earth would anyone want to fly on a United plane knowing this is the way they treat their passengers and deal with the fallout? United need to do some serious work to right this wrong. So guys, let me know what you think to the incident in the comments section down below. Will you be flying with United ever again? Again, let me know. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Rebecca Felgate. Remember to stay curious, stay alert, and never ever stop questioning.